Ever wondered why, after years of inner work and meditation, you are still not feeling at peace? I did. So 4 years ago, I quit all self-help and spiritual practices that I had been doing for 10 years. I replaced them with living in awareness because I knew I needed to let go of control. And I truly believe that by being aware in each moment, the mind would quiet down and I would experience a lasting, deep peace. I'm Daniela Schulek, and I help coaches and business owners who seek stillness to live in inner peace without self-help methods, inner work, or spiritual practices. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways this decision completely changed the way I live my life now. I'm also going to share 3 biggest challenges I faced and how they affected the decision I made 4 years ago. And if you're watching this and at any point you feel like you would like more tips and details from me, click on the link in the description. I go much deeper into each topic with my email community. To start, I'm going to share why I made this decision. For 10 years, I struggled with constant thinking and worrying. Whenever something went wrong, I reacted with frustration and anger. I also faced problems in my life that I kept trying to fix. I learned that I needed to heal my subconscious mind and heal my inner child and balance my feminine and masculine energy. So I tried. And I tried so much more than that. Energy healing, Reiki, affirmations, mindset work, past life regression, manifestation techniques, EFT, chakra healing, visualization, meditation, higher self meditations. If you can name it, I most likely tried it. Each new method brought a few weeks of hope, but none created lasting change. I stopped worrying about some things, but new things showed up in my life I worried about. I stopped reacting to certain things, yet kept being triggered by some people or unexpected situations when something went wrong. As I was trying to heal myself, more issues popped up that supposedly needed to be healed. I found myself chasing the next proven method and feeling more frustrated and helpless. No matter how hard I worked on myself, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, the peace and harmony I was seeking never came. And then there was this constant void I couldn't get rid of. I simply wasn't at peace. And I could see that all those practices were not the way to a lasting peace of mind. I hadn't met a single coach who did self-help and spiritual practices and would be calm when things went wrong. They would affirm, I am the universe, but they would stress when something went wrong. They would tell that we are all love and light, but they felt the need to protect their energy or send healing to others. Simply everything I had been told and followed for 10 years stopped making sense. And I didn't want to spend my life healing or doing spiritual practices forever. I wanted to live a peaceful life, not keep fixing myself. So I quit all of it. I believed that when the mind quiets down, I would finally have peace and clarity in each moment. Now let's look what happened in the first 6 months of replacing everything with simple awareness. So you can decide whether you want to do the same. After that, I'm also going to share the challenging moments, so you have the full picture. The first thing, and I didn't expect it to happen so fast, was how quickly I shifted into living in the present moment. Almost immediately, the thoughts began to lessen. The frustration, anger, worry, they all dissolved on its own. As the mind loosened its identity, the triggers disappeared. For years, I tried different techniques to become more present, focusing on my breath, listening to my body, noticing my surroundings. And then suddenly, after just a few months of being aware, I found myself fully present, calm, and content throughout the day, without trying to be present. It naturally became my normal way of living. I would talk to my kids when they got home from school, and I was completely present with them. No matter what they shared, no matter what happened, I remained calm. I would cook dinner without thinking about what I needed to do afterward or the next day. I wasn't thinking about my business, the work I hadn't done, or the email I hadn't sent. There was just me experiencing cooking, simply being in the moment. If something unexpected happened, or my plans changed, I didn't stress or worry. I simply did what needed to be done in that moment. That was a huge instant shift for me. So if you've been trying to be present for years with little or no results, you may be making the same mistake I was. It's the word trying. It's doing. I was trying to be present by doing. Not only did it not work, but it also made me frustrated, thinking there was something wrong with me, or that I wasn't spiritual enough, or evolved enough to live in present moment. All of that was the ego, the mind reinforcing itself through doing and through those thoughts. I will talk more about doing later in this video, but I want to mention here, it's not necessarily physical action, though it can be, but it's the mental and emotional effort, the inner activity. Being aware doesn't require any doing. It doesn't require any effort. Awareness is what you already are. To illustrate the second way living in awareness impacted my life, I want you to imagine you have a garden. You plant strawberries, carrots, apples, plums, all kind of seeds. And now you worry the apple seed might need more shade, so you move it. You think the berries might need more sun, so you move them too. Every day you dig into the soil to check what's wrong, why something isn't growing fast enough, or how you can help it grow better. Soon, the whole garden becomes chaos. Not because the seeds were flawed, but because you didn't allow each seed to be what it was in each moment. You had a story in your mind about how seeds should be, how seedlings should be, and what they needed in order to become the fruit or vegetables you wanted. So your desire and fear that you wouldn't get what you wanted ultimately destroyed the very thing you were trying to grow. Those mind stories didn't allow you to see that there is a pure, infinite consciousness that brought those seeds into your life. The same consciousness that birthed you into existence and takes every breath you breathe and moves sun, planets, and rivers. Those seeds represent you and every area of your life you feel dissatisfied with. Your relationships, your health, your business. When you perceive yourself and the world through the illusion of separation, you worry and try to fix things. And that was me in the past. But as the mind quieted down, the sense of separation began to fall away. I could perceive that everything I experienced in each moment was whole and exactly as it needed to be. Because everything is a manifestation of the infinite consciousness. So when this perception shifted for me, everything changed. Nothing felt wrong anymore. No one needed to change. This perception of the truth opened a deep spaciousness, lightness, and peacefulness in each moment, clearing so much mental, emotional, and physical space in my life. Life became peaceful and simple. Instead of spending hours searching, Googling, trying and fixing problems, problems resolve themselves naturally, or the right solution arose on its own, without my involvement. And in some cases, I stopped seeing a problem as a problem. All self-help and spiritual practices reinforce the mind, ego, and the illusion of separation. You remain trapped in constant doing. You may say God or divine is all love, or there is only one source. Yet you still fear illness, protect your energy, or set intentions for better outcomes. This is illogical because if there is only one power behind everything, then each moment is exactly as it needs to be. Why ask divine for help if it's all love and all-knowing? Why heal the past if consciousness exists only in the now? Why set intentions for the future if the future is just a mind's construct? Can you see how the ego uses these subtle tricks to keep you feeling separate? The peace and ease in your everyday life are directly proportional to how much your individual consciousness is in union with the pure, infinite consciousness. In other words, the stronger the identity, ego, the more anxiety and problems you experience. When you remain aware in each moment, the veil of separation disappears. You naturally move into oneness, perceiving the wholeness of each moment. You become one with life. Which brings me to the third change in my life. My clients began experiencing the same transformation in their inner world and in their lives. I didn't help them shift their beliefs. I didn't need to hear anything about their childhood or subconscious blocks or trauma. I guided them from doing into being, giving them practical day-to-day support on how to live in awareness. By learning not to let the mind pull them back into thought and identity, they naturally moved into a state of peace and presence within just a few weeks. For example, a coach who had been practicing spirituality for 15 years went from arguing and having conflicts with family to simply being with them in just 5 weeks. A client who was on a spiritual journey for 13 years, spending so much time being in different energy healing groups, doing metaphysical stuff, moved to living in being in 3 months. And the same results are possible for you because inner peace is your inner nature. The mind just needs to quiet down permanently. Now let's discuss my 3 biggest challenges. And I want to mention that these challenges were not happening one after another. I experienced them at the same time. So, first challenge was how to move from doing into being. I watched videos, read books, followed spiritual teachers, and I understood being intellectually. I knew how to be in meditation. But having 3 kids, my coaching business, household to take care of, errands to run, I had to do what needed to be done every day. And I couldn't just sit on a sofa all day long and be. And that was a big challenge I had. How do I function in real life and just be? How do I keep being aware when things go wrong? When there is a conflict? When I'm working, dealing with deadlines? I had no one I could turn to who could say, well, here's what is actually happening. Or here's how the mind is tricking you. Or here is how to stay in awareness right now. So I kept falling back into the mind without even realizing it. Looking back, I know that was something I had to experience. This is something you will encounter too. And I want to emphasize that it's not what you do in a meditation that matters. Even though at the beginning it is important to spend time in silence, alone. But what truly matters is, what state are you in your day-to-day life? Are you in the mind, or enforcing the sense of separation, or are you living in awareness? This is why you shouldn't go to India or Tibet to find inner peace. If you want to go there for vacation, but not to find inner peace. It might feel peaceful there, but your state of consciousness stays the same. And once you're back in your real life, the thinking and reacting return. The second challenge I faced was removing all attachments. And I don't mean removing people or things from my life. Most people misunderstand this, and so did I. We tend to think detachment means ending relationships, giving up things we enjoy, or living like a monk. But that's just another trap of the mind, replacing one identity with another. And I fell into that trap too. And it took me a while. It took a while for me to see it. The real attachment isn't out there. It's not objects, the situations, or people. It is our mental and emotional attachment that causes suffering. It's the belief that your peace, safety, love, or fulfillment comes from the outside or inside world, strengthening the material or spiritual ego. As long as you fear something or someone, as long as you are triggered by something or someone, as long as you need, desire, or depend on something or someone, there is attachment. And when there is attachment, there cannot be peace. True freedom arises when the mind stops clinging. When there is no attachment to people, we love unconditionally, without needing anything from them, and without fearing loss. When there is no attachment to objects, we naturally feel gratitude when they are present. We may use them without being controlled by them. And we remain peaceful when they leave our experience. When there is no attachment to outcomes, we live in the present moment. We simply enjoy life as it unfolds. That is inner peace. That is true freedom. Removing attachment is not something one can do. Those attachments need to be observed. Living in awareness quieted the mind and dissolved them. Today, I can clearly see the attachments my clients carry. I'm able to point them out and guide them so they don't spend years trapped in the mind like I once did. The third challenge was one of the hardest challenges I faced after I replaced all practices with awareness. It was surrendering, letting go an illusion of control. I could go much deeper into surrendering. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. And also let me know what specifically is your biggest challenge. And I may record another video just about surrendering. To keep this video short, I will mention it briefly. I understood surrender intellectually. And I could surrender when life felt peaceful. I intellectually knew I had no real control, but it was not my daily living truth. It was intellectual knowledge. And life kept giving me experiences that forced me to see the truth and to experience the truth. I control nothing, and forced me to surrender. No matter how hard I tried, worked, or pushed, things didn't improve. They often got worse. And again, I was faced with situations people label as negative, and I had to meet them without falling back into the mind. And this was the hard part, not reverting to the mind's activities, thinking, fixing, planning, when everything seemed to be falling apart. When our family had a car accident, when I had to fly across the ocean due to a family emergency, when I poured months of effort into my business and saw no tangible results, when responsibilities piled up and decisions had to be made. This is where most people fail, and I did too. Without someone showing me how to practically surrender in the middle of real life chaos, I kept slipping back into fear, control, planning, and mental effort. Full surrender is extremely difficult. If it was easy, everyone would be calm, content, and enlightened. Surrender transcends the ego, mind. As I remained over and over in the state of awareness, it started to fall away. When that happened, I realized that there is no need to surrender. It was the person, identity, that fought to surrender because of the separation. Perceiving everything through pure consciousness, oneness, dissolved any illusion of separation and any need for surrendering. I'm simply being calm regardless of what life brings. And you can be in the permanent state of peace too. The important thing to remember is that no method or practice, whether spiritual or other, will bring you to that state. It is your awareness or lack of your awareness that determines the peace and ease of life you experience. So instead of focusing your attention outside outside of yourself or inside yourself. Become aware. Become aware of the mind's tendencies and addictions to doing. Watch how the mind reinforces itself with doing, thinking, planning, fixing. Second, watch your attachments. Watch your attachments to people, things, routines, and outcomes. And third, be aware of the ego's resistance to surrender. Watch the belief that I can manage life better than life itself. Your experience will be different than mine because you have a completely unique theme of your life. Whether you like it or not, in each moment, you are always where you need to be. And life is showing it to you every moment. And that is why it's important to be aware rather than chasing the solutions and methods. I go deeper into explaining why your awareness is the only thing that determines whether your life feels peaceful and effortless or stressful and full of challenges. In the free video training I recorded, you can click the link below in the description to watch it now.